Hey guys, we're live. Welcome to the How to Send the Perfect Tinder Opener webinar from Zerby. I'm Mark and I'm going to be hosting this webinar today, and you're going to learn by the end of this how to send the perfect Tinder message. So hopefully you guys can all see this and everyone is here. I'm excited to get started, and I don't want to spend too much time waiting around. In fact, we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. And by the way, if you can't see this, the YouTube version should work for you, so just go ahead and click that. All right, so let me just screen share the presentation here and we will get started. All right, so today we're going to be covering how to send the perfect Tinder opener. Let's go ahead and get started. First, let's go over exactly what we're going to be covering in the next 45 minutes. And keep in mind that at the end, we're going to be doing a 100% live, just like this. This is live too, but we're going to be doing a live Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, just be sure to save them until the end of the webinar. All right, so let's go over what we're covering. First, we're going to be covering the online dating market. Oops. Then we'll look at what doesn't work on Tinder. We'll do this by looking at a Tinder profile of a girl named Emily, which comes from a source called Tinder Insider. So you'll be able to look that up on Google and kind of get a more in-depth look if you want to. My personal favorite part is we'll look at the science and data behind an effective online dating or Tinder first message. I won't be showing you my opinion here, by the way, just the facts. So you're really going to love that part. Then, after we lay the groundwork, we'll dive in depth with the actual Tinder Wingman system. Here's where you're really going to want to pay close attention because we will be showing lots of examples, which is our next point. We're going to be covering 24, in fact, real examples of using that system, which I'm going to show you A through Z. Okay. So before we dive into any of that, I want to tell you guys a little about who I am. So my name is Mark, and before starting Zerby, I worked as the chief of staff at one of the world's most successful dating companies, Simple Pickup, Jump Cut Studios, and was a partner at Willie Beck Dating, where I've helped guys from all over the world conquer their dating life. All right, that's enough about me. Let's dive into the topic and talk about what Tinder is really like. So there are about 50 million active users. To give you an idea of what that means, it's basically the population of the entire city of New York times 6. Now, every single day, there are 26 million matches. So out of that 6 million, or those 6 New York cities, about 3 cities worth are just full of matches. And then every day, there are 1.7 billion swipes, which is about the population of 1/4 of the world's population. So what does that all mean? Well, it means that you can't fail. Statistically speaking, if you're in the game long enough, you'll eventually score. That's really good news. It just might take a while. To give you an idea of what that means, it would take almost 15,000 hours or 3 years of straight 24-hour, 7 days a week swiping right each time to get through all of the female users. So that's quite a lot of swiping. And by the end of this webinar, you'll know how to drastically reduce that number. All right, so what are the bare minimum requirements to get matches? Well, first is your profile photo. So this expert says that posting photos of you with sunglasses says that you're hiding something. Girls want to look in your eyes. Posting photos of a gorilla may be funny to you, but does she really want to kiss that animal? Not really. And those selfies without the shirt, are they really your best photo? You may want to show off your physique, but on the first swipe, she probably doesn't want to see you naked. Well, in fact, we actually did our last webinar on your Tinder profile photo. And we'll show you later how you can view that video. But in general, a profile photo and a bio is exactly what you need. And I got this great quote from Rosette, who is the Tinder VP of Global Communication and Branding. She says that girls are 99% less likely to swipe if you aren't willing to divulge some basic information about yourself. So, that's just the start. Getting a match, actually, is the easy part. And where most guys fail is with the Tinder opening message. And the reason why is pretty obvious, right? Because after all, getting a match is not that hard, like we saw before. So long as you're swiping right enough, you're bound to get one. And if you have a decent profile and some decent photos, you should be okay. But your opening message is really going to dictate the success that you have, right? Now, let's talk about what doesn't work before we get into the science of what does. So let's talk about what doesn't work, right? So let's meet Emily. We're going to do an experiment. So Emily is an attractive girl who most guys would probably find attractive. And in this experiment, Emily deleted her profile. Then she swiped right 50 times, and we're going to take a look at the messages that she received. So if you have a pen and paper, get it out now. I want you guys to write down, along with me, all right, the number of messages that you're sending that are basically the same thing, right? So here are the responses. So looking at the phone there, you can see that there are a lot of highs. What's up? Hey, what's going on? Hey there. Hey lady, how are you? I'm not gonna go through every page here, but I think that you get the message. Now, as far as the results, Emily got 26 matches out of her 50 swipes. 50% of those guys messaged her, so we can graph that. 50% of guys who messaged her actually wrote her, so there's a takeaway there. Takeaway number one is be in that 50% that messages her. You do not have a chance if you don't even try, right? Now let's look at the kind of messages that she actually got. 86% of the messages were some mix of hey, hi, what's up? Yikes. So we'll go ahead and chart that. Things are not looking good for Emily, obviously. You can start to understand why girls don't respond to first messages and are usually so standoffish on Tinder. So takeaway two, don't be in that 86% that sends bad opening messages. Okay, now here's where things get interesting. 0% of those messages were attention grabbing in any way. And yes, this is subjective, but with that said, there was nothing in any of those messages that was unique. They're either boring greetings or questions or even straight up invitations to meet up right away. So we'll go ahead and chart that too. 0% were attention grabbing. And takeaway number three, this is obvious, but do not do what everyone else is doing. Everyone else is sending boring cookie cutter messages, and you don't need to be in that 0%, that 100%, I should say. You want to be in that small fraction of guys that do it right. All right, so the messages. 0% were personalized in any way. Now, this is the most important. None of them had any form of personalization. They were all copy-pasted or just bland generic messages. So 0% were attention grabbing and 0% were personalized. So takeaway number 4 is be personalizing. Be personalized. Personalize it to her. So the science behind the message. What can we do to improve our success based on actual data? So what we just looked at was a case study, and it was definitely a subjective case study. It wasn't particularly scientific. So what I want to do now instead is look at a case study that, data that comes from Christian Rudder. And Chris is the founder of OkCupid. This isn't exactly Tinder, but it's close enough after looking at hundreds of thousands of, potentially even more messages that they analyzed. We can start applying that information to all online dating, definitely including Tinder. All right, so first off, bad English. Messages that, on average, use you are, ya, etc. have up to a 25% chance, lower than the median, which is about 30, to respond. Even typing can't instead of can't with an apostrophe can lower you as much as 20% of the median. How many of your messages can you think of right now that had a similar problem? I'm sure it's going to be a lot. So from this, we can come up with our first rule of 5, and that is use proper English. Seems pretty intuitive, but when you look at the numbers, most guys aren't doing this. Next up, complimenting her. It helps. In fact, you can see that there is up to a 10% increase in response rate by complimenting her. But here's the kicker. The moment that you compliment her based on her looks, it doesn't help you, it cripples you. In fact, calling a girl she's sexy means that you'll get a 40% less chance of a response than complimenting a girl with something that is not related to her looks. So from this, we have our second rule. Be personal about something other than her looks. Makes sense, right? And by the way, guys, if you have any questions as we go along, be sure to go ahead and save them until the end, because we're going to be doing that live Q&A. All right, next up, be specific. So by being specific to something that we see in our profile, we can boost our results almost 45% up from 30. It can really be about anything you notice that's specific to her. So this is pretty radical, right, guys? This is even more proof that copy-pasted lines do not work. And this is even more proof that you must be specific to each and every girl. So that brings us to our third rule, which is be specific to her. Let's talk about common interests, things that you both share. This is where things get insane. All right, so authenticity. This has a huge implication. Women respond most to the guys who are the most genuine, guys who really want to get to know her. Not the guys who are setting the best copy-pasted line, not the guys who have the most in common with her, and not the guys who are the most witty, have the best compliments, or anything else. Authenticity reigns king. So our fourth rule, authenticity reigns king. All right, so let's cover what we've learned here. We now have 4 rules to send messages from actual data. By sending the wrong first message, you can hit between a 0 and 5% response rate. Obviously, that's not good, and that might even be something that you guys have experienced. And by sending the right message, you can fire up to 50% response rate, which is 20% above the average. That's great. And those things, here's the best part too. Those things have nothing to do with your height, ethnicity, hobbies, or looks. It's about how you present yourself, how much authenticity that you project. You might have an argument that says, well, looks might help me get more Tinder matches. Well, really, it's about how you project yourself with your photos and not your looks. But even with that said, even if that argument there is to be made, you can't argue with this. When the match is made, what goes from there is the opening message. And what gets you the most responses is being authentic. Now, okay, for those of you guys who are paying attention, you might have noticed that I did leave out Rule 5. And that's a problem because Rule 5 is the most important out of all of the aspects, even more important, in my opinion, potentially than authenticity, although maybe on the same page. And don't worry, we will get back to that later. This will not be a cliffhanger. But first, I want to show you the Tinder Wingman opening system, because this will help you guys understand what that 5th rule is. So we already have a great foundation to build on after looking at the data. And as mentioned before, this will work with any girl that you match on with Tinder, even the ones with those dreaded, boring selfie and empty bio girls that we all hate to swipe right on. Following this system will give you the biggest potential returns. And of course, you can break rules, but first off, master the system. And it's very, very easy. It couldn't be more simple. And of course, it is based on fishing, because what else would be a more appropriate metaphor? So the system is this. Step 1 is to hook. This is where you pick out one thing from her profile or photos. It can be anything, no matter how small. You now have your hook. Line is where you take the hook and make a literal line from it. Again, it doesn't matter how small the hook is. It really doesn't matter. You can pick out the most small, obscure thing from her bio or from her photo, and that works fine. And don't worry, we're going to be looking at plenty of examples so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And reel. Reel is where you connect her to you. Think of it like you're pulling her into your world. Hook, line, reel. Did you write these down? Of course, this has no value if we don't show how it's used with real examples. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. So this girl, her photos were very cinematic. They had filters on them. They just looked like stills from a movie. So what I did is simply reference that, referencing how cinematic her photos were. And you can see that just by being authentic and personal, it got her attention. In this case, she mentioned that she loves being complimented and that she has good taste in wine. So what I was able to do here is actually use 2 hooks, a double reference, and make a line out of that. And if I compliment your taste in wine, then I'm doing really well. She really liked that, obviously. And you can see how I reeled that into me. That is related to us. It's related to me doing something, right? It includes me in the line, even though it's a very small inclusion. It still makes it more powerful than saying, I bet you have good taste in wine, right? That's kind of boring. But this makes it a lot more powerful. Next up, she mentioned in her profile that she doesn't want any one-night stands because she has enough furniture. And I referenced this by saying that I'm a lazy boy. So again, taking something very small from her profile, something that, isn't even an interest of hers. It's just, hey, no one-night stands. I have enough furniture. It's a little cheesy, dad joke. And my line isn't even that great, but because it's personal to her, it grabs her attention. It's interesting. It's different than anything that she's seen on Tinder. It gets her to respond. So this girl had a puppy in her profile. And I know what you guys are thinking. Man, if I see a girl on Tinder or OkCupid or anywhere and she has a photo with a dog, if I reference that photo, I'm going to be doing what every other guy is, right? Well, you're wrong, because like we saw before, 86, if not more % of guys are sending, hey, hi, what's up? So if she's handing you your opening line on a silver platter by having a dog, which you can reference in your message, take it. It's easy. She is doing that to make your job easier. So don't be shy. All right, so moving on. This girl mentioned that she loves spicy food, and I am a serious lover of Sichuan cuisine. after living over in Chengdu and Chongqing, I developed a big taste for it. So as a result, this line isn't simply like, hey, I like Sichuan, but it's also representing authenticity. I have something that I can speak to her about that drives the conversation. And again, I am relating it to something that I see in her profile. It's a hook. And at the same time, I'm reeling it into me. So in this example, she's actually the one sending me a first message. And she's talking about tea in our history, which were listed in my profile. Now, guys, real quick, my Tinder profile is really easy. It's one line that lists out a few things that I like and has a little bit of a sense of humor and some puns in there. So with that said, I know it's in my bio. I know what I reference. I make it easy for her. She knows what she can talk about with me. And the best part, and the reason that this is so powerful, is a lot of times if your profile lists out things that you're actually interested in, you're genuine about it, she'll message you about them. And you should already know, hey, girls message me about tea a lot. So I have a canned line. I have a kind of a response to that I can use that just makes my life much easier. So in this case, I say, then it sounds like we'll get oolong. So my hook is related to her first line, right? Instead of something I see in her profile. And of course, it relates it back to us, us getting oolong. So she had in her profile that she won't share her pizza with me. And my first message was, but sharing is caring. So again, that isn't a necessarily groundbreaking line. It's pretty boring, right? But it's specifically targeted to her profile. It's a hook. And it relates to us sharing a pizza, right? Again, very light touch, but it works. Now this girl had something in her profile that referenced celebrity chefs. So I sent Guy and said, we live in Flavortown. And when in doubt, send Guy and you'll get a laugh if you can't think of anything else. But again, I am referencing something directly in her profile. I'm showing her my sense of humor and I'm relating it to us. We live in Flavortown, right? And again, none of these rules are steadfast. It's totally okay to send a line that doesn't include both of you, that has a weak hook that's more generic. It's okay, but the more personal, the more authentic that you get, the more that you follow those 5 rules. The 5th one I didn't give you yet, but the closer you follow them, the more success rate you're gonna find. So she had photos of herself at the Ren Fair, and my first line was, I want things to work out between us because I've never been to the Ren Fair and you could be my in. So there we go. Another example of a hook from her profile and me reeling it into myself, right? Her profile mentioned Neverland, and I played off of this. I hope you don't mean Neverland Ranch. So this is personal to her. It's not necessarily related to me, thank God. But again, because it's so personal to her, just that aspect alone makes it work. This girl had one of her photos as a cardboard cutout of Obama, so my message related to that. Here's another girl that sent a message related to tea. And again, I know, hey, when girls message me about tea, this is what I can say because I get that message a lot, right? And you want to make sure that whatever's in your bio, if you see that girls are messaging you a lot because of it, think to yourself, how can I take this and make it about us? How can I make it follow the 5 rules? So just think about that. All right, so this girl's bio mentioned that she was looking for she was looking for guys with a good vibe, and I sent a GIF of a vibrating fish. So it doesn't even have to be a line. You can have your opening message be a GIF, and that's fantastic. Don't do the generic GIF of a bear waving or anything. Make it a GIF that is specifically related to her. And again, you can see that I relate this to me by saying this is my vibe. This girl had a photo where she had Trump in it, and I said, FYI, I have a Trump mask with me that I'm wearing on a first date. She says, I'll wear Hillary. And I said, our sex is going to be really weird. So here's the thing. A lot of guys like to go very sexual in Tinder, and maybe that works for them. But I found that it doesn't work very well, at least not right off the bat. But with that said, it's okay to be more risky in your conversation. In fact, I think you should be. You just want to let her know that you're joking. And the way to do that is not to say JK or LOL or haha at the end of your line. But obviously my joke here is pretty transparent that it's a joke. Oh, and by the way, one thing I didn't mention is almost all of these conversations that you see here at Zerby, we have the full breakdown. I'm only showing you the opening line, but we do have the entire conversation and even getting her number and setting up the date at the end. And that's something that members of Tinder Wingman, which is one of our products, have access to. So just keep that in mind, that we do have the full conversation that you guys can see in the future. All right, so she said, I'm a fan of tea as well, and obviously that pun must look familiar. We're gonna get oolong. So it just goes to show that you should find jokes that work for your profile bio, and I talked about that before, but you'll also notice that I added a line to give it a little more authenticity. In this case, another joke about me living in the past because I just got off a very long plane flight that was 13 hours ahead. But just goes to show you that you can use your opening line and then you can bring it back down to earth by being more authentic and genuine. So in this case, you'll notice that I didn't use that oolong line. She said, whoa, are you a tea drinker? Let's drink. And I'm already thinking about logistics for our first date on my first message. So I said, oh, wow, awesome. I'd love to know any good tea houses. And she said, well, can I call my home a tea house? So, obviously this was an example, not that it's gonna happen all the time, where after just one message, I'm already securing the date. And by the way, just to go back to that, that will happen more and more as you have a bio and profile photos that are more genuine, are more authentic, and really show out your personality. She can see by my photos that I'm not some nutbag and that I'm not dangerous, right? She can see that I'm a normal guy. And she gets a really detailed description of my humor and my life, even though there's very little text in my actual bio. So keep that in mind. All right, so this is an example of a girl that had barely anything in her Tinder profile. I mean, literally nothing. There's no bio. All of her photos were pretty boring. So this is sort of like the beginning of the dreaded profiles, and we'll be talking more about them. But I did notice that in one of her photos, there was a Corona brand sombrero. So again, there's my hook. It's as easy as that. I just found my hook, made my line, and then I'm good to go. This girl had literally nothing in her profile, and she had one photo, and that was it. But I did notice that her age was listed at 89, so I ran with it. Again, that was my hook. And the line was just making a little joke on it, a little play on that. All right, now, this is the example that I know you guys want to know about all of the time. And this is when a girl has a profile that truly has nothing. I legitimately could not find a hook. Or actually, you know what? That's the next example. Sorry. This one, she said, I'll probably regret using Tinder, and I ran with it. This one, fake mustache, bonus points for girls with beards, easy reference. So go with what is the most easy. And this girl had a photo of her jumping in midair. So again, easy transition, that's my hook. All right, sorry guys, this is the one that had absolutely nothing. Boring selfie, empty bio, nothing at all interesting. She is really making it hard on guys to message her. So in these situations, you have two options. One is to be personal and have a hook about yourself. Maybe reference something in your own bio or in your own photo or something that's going on in your life right now. So hook yourself in this kind of case, or you can do what I did here, which is ask a deeper question. So in this case, I asked her where she had traveled to that had the most impact on her. Now notice that's not like, hey, where do you like to go? Or where have you been? In fact, you can kind of see in the conversation that she gave me a boring answer. So I didn't let her get away with it, and that's kind of important. But again, just by kind of going beyond the everyday small chat is very useful, being authentic. All right, so this girl didn't have too much about her, but I did notice that she was from California based on the mascot on her, her sweatshirt. So again, just another reference, and I tied it into us being in this part of the country, right? She mentioned how good brunch is in her profile, and of course, easy hook, right? And once you guys start seeing this stuff, and once you guys start getting experience, you really see a hook instantly. After a little bit of practice in seeing a bunch of other conversations from us at Zerby, as soon as you match with a girl, instantaneously you'll have a sense of, hey, here's my hook, easy, good to go. And before you know it, if you want, you can have dates lined up every night of the week. It really is, especially if you're in a place like New York or LA where there's a lot of people, you can do quite well. Another thing that I want to point out here is you'll notice that I said the food of the gods is eggs Benedict if you don't agree on Match Me ASAP. So important note, be risky with your conversation. That doesn't mean sending weird sexual lines and stuff like that. It means if that's your humor, sarcastic humor, show it in your messages. That's really important, and that's what I did here. It shows her that I'm a real person and I'm not going to hide my personality just because I pray that I might get lucky. It doesn't work like that. A guy who isn't needy or dependent on an outcome is not going to censor himself. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, so we burned through all of the examples. And now before we get into the live Q&A, there's something important to bring up. When we went over the science behind messages, I mentioned that there was a fifth rule. This is the secret ingredient that needs to be in place for everything else to work. So get out your pens because I want you to write this down. The secret ingredient is reference experience. So I know that's not exactly a secret, but here's the thing. Following our system will work. And as you saw firsthand, as you do it more and more over time, you're going to get more and more results. This is how you will know which hook will be most effective. This is how you intuitively know what line she'll respond to the most. And this is how you'll know how hard to reel in, what to do with the conversation, and when to go for the date. I think you guys know all this already. I think you know this already. And like I said before, it's not exactly a secret. I think we all kind of get it that you need to have reference experience to get results on any kind of skill, right? But there are two very big problems with reference experience. So one, like any other skill, it takes years of failure to build. And I want you to think about all the fun that you could be having during that time. Instead, you're going to be spending that time with slow, very slow trial and error. You're going to get matches with girls who knows? They could have been your girlfriends. They could have been, one of them could have been your future wife. You could have met a lot of new friends and done all kinds of new things in your life, but unfortunately, for whatever reason, maybe you sent a bad opening message or you didn't know when to ask her out or whatever happened, and you missed out. And the second problem is it gets harder to improve the better that you get, right? So you can think of getting any new skill like a gradient curve. The better that you get at it, the more difficult it is to improve even more. So don't be me. There is another way to get reference experience without going through the years of failure like I did. And the good news is you don't have to wait years to start seeing huge results. And when you do get those results, you don't have to fall into the trap of complacency or hit the plateaus, the never-ending plateaus. You don't have to do what I did, which is struggle for a long time. That's why we made Tinder Wingman. We're able to give you the reference experience from a team of dating coaches, so you can dramatically cut down the time that you need to become seasoned. And once you do, you'll be part of a mastermind of guys who excel with online dating, so you can always stay sharp. Now, before I tell you what's inside Tinder Wingman, there's something extremely important that you need to know. And that is that on this date, the 22nd of January, just a little more than a week away, Tinder Wingman is closed. After that, you will not be able to join Tinder Wingman. It will take months or longer before we open again, and you're gonna find out why soon. In fact, it's been, I think, 3 to 4 months since we've opened Tinder Wingman up at all. Now, what is in Tinder Wingman? What is Tinder Wingman? First off, it's weekly Tinder breakdowns. Each and every week, you're gonna get a new Tinder breakdown video, so you can absorb all of the reference experience from our team of real experts. And by the way, this isn't just Tinder. This is OkCupid. This is text messaging. A lot of times we'll do a video, and our videos are anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes long, where we go through every line. But a lot of times in the first video, you're gonna see how we get her number from Tinder, and in the second video, you'll see how we go from text messaging to the date. So we really bring you through everything, and you get all that reference experience. We're gonna break down the conversation line by line so you understand why we said what we said and why she reacted the way that she did. You'll get a core principle in each and every breakdown so you know how to incorporate it into your own game. You're gonna get unshakable confidence, not just in Tinder, but OkCupid, Field, Badoo, Coffee Meets Bagel, and even your text game, because guess what? The same principles apply to everything. Now here is the game changer. On top of the video breakdowns, you will be getting a one-on-one coach via text. Have you ever wished that you could just get help on the spot? When the pressure is on and you need help right now. When you don't have time to run home and watch through all of the videos to get answers. That's exactly what you can do with Tinder Wingman. No matter what you need help with, you can text on your phone into Tinder Wingman and get immediate help with any issue once per week. So let's look at some ways that guys are actually using that texting feature. One, let's say that you open up Tinder and have a new match, but her bio is empty and her profile pictures are just selfies and you just don't know what to do. Maybe a girl ghosts on you mid-conversation. How do you get her attention back? You've been talking with her for a while, but you just can't seem to lock down the date. Or you even watch one of our Tinder breakdown videos and have a question about it for the coach who actually made it. No matter what you need help with, you can text into Tinder Wingman with your phone and get immediate help. Send us your screenshots, your questions, your fears. We're here for you. This isn't just a set of videos. You get live feedback and help in the moment. I just really want to stress how incredible that is. There really is nothing like it. Being able to text in and get help, send in a screenshot of your Tinder conversation or a text conversation, and know exactly what to do is a pretty powerful thing, to say the least. You're also gonna get a content library. Now, hopefully you found this webinar really helpful, but we only covered your opening line. Our content library covers everything else in our online dating mastery course and our approaching mastery course, where you can learn exactly how to approach a woman that you're interested in real life off of Tinder. And on top of all of that, you're going to be getting access to our webinar archive and live Q&A. So if you remember earlier, guys, I mentioned that we had an entire webinar just like this where we covered your profile photo. Yeah, you can get access to that in the content archive, along with all of the other archive webinars that we've done. Plus, every month we do a live Q&A for our members, which you're going to get access to all the previous Q&As too. Now, here is where things get really cool. Accountability. This isn't a set it and forget it program. We're less like a gym and more like a personal trainer. We'll be there with you, checking in at every step, one-on-one via text, to make sure that you follow through what you started. Again, we actually will text you and check in on how things are going. Mastermind group. As soon as you become a member, you're going to be joining our mastermind group. You're going to be connected with all of the other Tinder Wingman members so you can see their strategies firsthand and share your own. This is how you're going to keep sharp and experiment with new strategies and get really good really fast. So that begs the question, who is Tinder Wingman for? Well, to be honest with you, it's not for most guys. Because most guys want the easy way out. They want to use scripted lines. And you know what? If you go on Google and go on different blogs, you're going to find it. But like we saw, that just doesn't work. Most guys don't want to put in any work. So obviously, there are no lasting changes. And this is the big one. Most guys want us to feed them lines so that they can get the date in the short term, but don't actually become a better man. This is something that's very common with Zerby, Tinder Wingman actually. Guys will sign up and expect us to just tell them what the line is. That's not for us. That's not how we operate. And to be honest with you, we're not shy about firing clients, especially because we only let in a small number of new members. So everyone gets that one-on-one personalization that you actually need to get better. We are fostering a real community here, and we're not going to put that at risk for your money. Now, when you do text in, let's say, for help with a line, we're not going to tell you, say this. We're going to help you lead. We're going to lead you to the answer yourself. So that way you can figure it out and you'll never feel dependent on us. We're a program to make you better, not to make you dependent. So who is Tinder Wingman for? I want to read you 3 quick quotes from actually very long testimonials that are on our website. And when I mean long, I mean these are pages. But let's look at Dan first. So Dan says, the quality of my matches on Tinder has gone up significantly ever since I tried a few of the tips out. In fact, I've actually started seeing I started regularly seeing a beautiful college girl. Texting was my weak point, and thanks to Tinder Wingman, I started getting more women invested through my improved texting. This means I was going on more dates. My success with women dramatically increased when I finally started learning from a mentor and the awesome Tinder Wingman community. I was learning exactly what to do and what to fix without sacrificing what makes me, me. There's a reason that our tagline at Zerby is dating with integrity. So these are actually only very small clips of the longer testimonials that I've said, like I mentioned before, but on top of that, these are only 3 out of hundreds, if not thousands of testimonials we've gotten. I'm happy to say that these results aren't unique. When you go to our website, you'll see plenty more like it in full. And maybe after this webinar, like these guys, you're going to be seeing the same success too. So let's talk about the next steps. In 2 weeks, that's when most users report back that they're seeing changes. 2 months is when most users report back that the changes are permanent. And that's because it takes 2 months for a habit to form. And keep in mind that habits don't take 1 month, they take 2. So with that said, I have a question for you. After 2 weeks, what would Tinder Wingman be worth to you if you were getting the same results? What about after 2 months? What if you met the perfect girl who made you unconditionally happy? What if you were living a life with an abundance surrounded by attractive and intelligent women because you took the small step to try Tinder Wingman completely risk-free? What would Tinder Wingman be worth then? So, of course, I can't tell you what Tinder Wingman would be worth, but I can tell you what it costs. So let's go over that now. So for the Tinder breakdowns, each week you're going to be receiving a new Tinder breakdown video. Now, just to give you a frame of reference, other companies charge up to $40 a month for exclusive video content and nothing else. So we can write down $40 a month in terms of value. Our mastery course, you'll have access to our full mastery online dating course and approach course and webinar and Q&A archive. With other companies, you can expect to pay as high as $800 for a similar course. And frankly, in many cases, it's a lot more. And I think you guys are aware of that. So that's $66 a month if you are paying on a 12-month payment plan. Now, the live Q&A, every month we do a members-only live Q&A. Group Skyping coaches with other businesses are easily worth $100 in value, especially if it's a small group where you get individualized attention, just like with Tinder Wingman. So we'll put $100 on the board for that. And finally, one-on-one text coaching. Now, to be honest, there is nothing else like that out there. This is really an entirely new beast to contend with. But let's consider for a moment that this is similar to an individual Skype call with a dating coach. And since you're messaging in 4 times a month, this would be about the equivalent of a 1-hour Skype coaching session worth $200 or more. So we'll put that on the board. Now, we also have a lot of bonuses that I'm going to be throwing in that are worth pretty much as the program itself. But I'm just going to leave that blank for now. So let's look at the total. All right, that's pretty big. So we're already at $4,872 a year, which is $400 a month. But I mean, honestly, guys, you know that I'm not going to be charging that just because Tinder Wingman wouldn't be accessible for the guys who need it the most. Now, what if you can get that entire Tinder Wingman package with the mastery course and the full archives, which are $800, completely free and included. The group coaching, which is $100, completely free and included. And even the one-on-one texting, which is worth $200 a month, completely free and included. Yep. That's right. You get the entire Tinder Wingman system for only $39.97 a month. But nothing is perfect, and there is a catch, just to be transparent. Tinder Wingman closes at 11:59 on the 22nd. If you miss out, you will not be able to join, and there are no exceptions to this. And when we close Tinder Wingman in the past, there's always a case where someone tries to get in and we don't let them. We put them on a wait list. We don't, if it's not open, it's not open. And there is a reason that we do that. We keep our prices low by maintaining a very small team of 6. By limiting the window that guys join, we allow ourselves to scale slowly and control our price without sacrificing our quality. With that said, I did mention that there are some bonuses for joining now, and I do want to talk about them. So what are those bonuses? Well, bonus 1, we're going to be paying 99% of your first week. You're only going to have to pay $1. This way you can try it and see if it works for you. There really is no risk because you can cancel at any time. No questions asked. The second bonus, our texting ebook, Text God, will be released soon. The Tinder Wingman members are going to get it not just early, but they're going to be getting it at a massive, massive price discount. Bonus number 3, this is actually a really big one. So we're going to be doubling your one-on-one coach texting during your second month of membership. And the reason is, in your second month, that's when it's really critical to make change happen. Because if you do, then it becomes a habit. So we really want to encourage that by giving you an edge to make these changes last long, again, by doubling the number of text-ins that you get in your second month. Bonus number 4, we want to reward the guys who are looking to make lasting changes. So at $39.97, a year costs $479.64. What we're going to do is actually knock off $80 from a year subscription if you buy the entire year. So you're just going to be paying $39.97. And the best part about that is we have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you do buy the year subscription, there's no risk. If at the end of 29 days, you don't think that this is worth every single dime, if not more, let us know and we'll refund you. And here's the thing. We don't actually give discounts, price discounts on our products because frankly, well, Tinder Wingman doesn't need a price discount. However, again, we really want to reward the guys who are in this for a long haul, and there's a reason for that. Because there is so much one-on-one personalization, we want members who stick around and contribute to the community, rather than guys who slip back into their bad habits right away. Now, there is one more bonus, and this is the biggest one yet. Ready for this? Bonus number 5. If you join Tinder Wingman before this webinar is over, we'll say thank you by creating a special Tinder breakdown video of your Tinder conversation at the end of your second month. That's after you've had time to learn and practice the Tinder Wingman system and when you need feedback the most. This is going to be 100% personal to you. Again, we've actually never done anything like this before, but I really think that this could help out a lot of guys. So sign up now. If you are in the Webinar Jam webinar for this, click the link that just appeared in chat. You don't want to miss out on Tinder Wingman. Again, we will be closing soon. And if you don't sign up before this webinar is over, when we finish the Q&A, you are not going to get that bonus number 5. And the reason is pretty simple. We're not going to be able to make individual videos for everyone that signs up over this week. So we just want to give it to the people who take action right now. All right, so before we get into Q&A, I have one more thing to add, and that is our guarantee. We are the best out there, and you know what? We stand by that. So here's the deal. Cancel whenever you want. No bullshit, no sales. And if you hate our advice, let us know, and we'll do our best to make it right. All right, so we're gonna do our live Q&A right now. If you guys have questions, be sure to come to the Webinar Jam side and go ahead and ask them. And by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you go to bit.ly/joinwingman, you can join Tinder Wingman right from there. And again, if you do it before this webinar is over, then you are going to get that extra special bonus. All right, so again, you can go ahead and ask the questions in the chat. I have some questions written down that some people have asked in the past. So one, and this is a pretty important question, what makes you experts at Tinder Wingman? Well, it's a fair question. So Zerby was founded by 2 ex-Simple Pickup employees. So in case you don't know, Simple Pickup is one of, if not the world's largest men's dating businesses and the most successful. It has 2.7 million subscribers on YouTube. And Project Go, which teaches guys how to have success with their dating life, although not online dating, has over 50K registered paying users. So all of the coaches that come on to Tinder Wingman, all 6 of us, are screened, monitored, and regularly reevaluated to make sure that they maintain the high level of standard that we have at Tinder Wingman. Let me just take a drink real quick. All right, is this a pickup product? No, actually far from it. So here's the thing. At Zerby, we believe that success, well, it comes from two places: reference experience and authenticity. It doesn't come from tricks. It doesn't come from lines. It doesn't come from seduction. It doesn't come from memorizing anything. It is simply about being authentic and having reference experience. And what we do with Tinder Wingman is we show you how to project your authenticity. And most important, we show you reference experience, not just from one coach, but our entire team of coaches. So you get the perspectives of an entire group of guys that are experts with online dating. You're gonna not be able to just go in and copy paste our lines, but you'll see and understand the logic of why we're saying what we're saying. Because in our videos, again, we break down every single line. So you can understand exactly why we do what we do and why she's doing what she's doing. So you can burn through years of reference experience in a matter of months. All right, what happens if I hate Zerby? Well, we kind of covered this before. Again, you can cancel anytime, and if you hate the advice, fair enough. Let us know. We will make it right. However, whatever we need to do to make that right, we are going to make that right. If you get the year-long subscription, by the way, the heavily discounted year-long subscription, you have a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. So keep that in mind. No risk at all. All right, if I send in a question, I'll just get a one-sentence line back, right? No, not at all. In fact, the way that we help with our one-on-one texting is tested over almost maybe 6, how long have we been active? 7, 8 months, something like that, of helping thousands of users who have texted in. And here's the thing, we don't send a message back. We have a conversation with you. And that's a really important distinction. We don't answer questions, we solve issues. So sometimes an issue takes a little bit to solve. A lot of times guys will text in and we need to ask some follow-up questions. We need to get a better understanding of the situation. We need to walk you through and help you out. It's not just, hey, text in and we fire back a text and close the conversation. This is really intensive one-on-one coaching through text, once a week. All right, what happens if I'm not in the United States? So what's really incredible about Tinder Wingman is we are international. So Tinder Wingman you can use by texting in, but here's the great part. If you don't have a US number to text in, we have Facebook Messenger, and soon we have WhatsApp and WeChat on the way. So no matter where you are, you're gonna be able to get that one-on-one coaching with the Zerby Tinder Wingman coaches. So why is Tinder Wingman closed for new registration for the majority of the year? Well, again, we kind of covered that before, and that is because we have a very small team. And if we just let in a lot of new users, we wouldn't be able to hire enough coaches fast enough. That would really make life easy for us. We wouldn't be able to give you guys the same quality one-on-one time that you need, the personalization. So it's really important that we don't let people in. We have very brief periods where we open the doors and then close. In fact, for the majority of the year, we maintain a list, a wait list. So keep that in mind. All right. So what are your hours? When are the coaches available? So coaches are available 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we're always here for you guys. Whenever you need us, we'll be there. And finally, the last question we have is, what if I need extra help? All right, so here's the thing. Like we said before, you can text in for help once a week. But let's say that you are a guy and you match with a girl on Tinder and you get her number and we help you out, and then something happens the next day. It's an emergency. You need help right away, or else you might lose this match. And then you really want this to work with that girl. Here's the thing. We're not gonna nickel and dime you. We're not gonna turn you away. If you need extra help, we are here for you. We've got your back. Our testimonials really speak to that. We really care about every single member that comes in. That's why we maintain such a close community. You will get to know our coaches. very quickly when you're at Tinder Wingman. Now, of course, you're not always going to have the same coach, but our coaches will get to know you. You'll get to know our coaches, and we're never going to leave you stranded. Now, of course, don't take advantage of us, and we're not going to, we're not going to feel taken advantage of. But if you need help, we'll be there for you. So don't stress out. All right, guys. Well, that is the end of the webinar. I really hope that you got a lot of value out of this. I know that a lot of you guys are going to be able to really take your opening messages to the next level by using our system. And of course, guys, if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. You have my email. It's support@zerbiapp.com. You know how to reach me. I'll help anyone who writes in. But again, keep in mind, like we said before, Tinder Wingman closes on the 22nd. So if you do not get in, you're not going to be able to get in, and that's pretty much that. Well, we're at an hour exactly right now, so I am going to go ahead and end this, but I just want to thank you guys once again for coming to the webinar, and hopefully I will see you guys very soon.